Hello, my name is Joel. I'll be your instructor for this semester for brand and media strategies. Uh, let's just jump in. So I'm going to turn off my little monitor so you're not going to watch me because you're going to see my head down and moving around as I work on the screen. And I don't want any bugs happening like, oh, low bandwidth because the video's going as well. So I'm going to turn off my video. You're just going to deal with this screen right here and I'll do all the work from there. So welcome the class and let's get rolling. All right, so this is just the header to get us started so everybody knows that you're in the right room. I can get that, put that away. Um, a bunch of you are online, some of you are here in person, but I want to show this anyway. I've shared this with you, and for the people that are online, I encourage you to come on in and start using professional grade equipment. I'm not saying that you don't have it, but there are items here like the Wacom graphics tablet and the drawing screen that you may not have access to, or starting to get familiar with using two screens at once, which just really increases your real estate. So we have 20 of these set up here in this room, and I'm in this room all day, except for maybe the final class, which is face-to-face, which has students. But come on in, work on these big screens, big setups. It may help you out. So I'm just going to walk through it a little bit, just so you know, like if you were like, I do want to come in, I want to know what's going on, how things work. So you have a main screen right here. We call it the main screen. It's kind of like where you start and stop, like all your like your little Apple. If you're familiar with an Apple, it can generally most of the information is on this screen. You call it your main screen, and then directly connected to it is your second screen. And you can pull anything over from one screen to the other screen. It basically acts like one giant monitor. So that becomes really helpful. And I use it every day. I have a setup like this myself. I've had a setup like this for more than 20 years. And it's the way I work because I can have information over here. I can be looking at references. I can have like the information I have to copy and paste from my graphic design, and then my graphic design is here. So having these double screens or these larger screens is really great, and we have them here for you to work on if you so choose. I always kind of joke, and I don't know if it's in this week's lecture. Yeah, it is Working Smarter, I think. Let me double check. Let's see what it stay organized. Yeah, work smarter. I'll talk about that in a little bit. Then down here, this drawing screen. This is literally a drawing screen. So this screen mirrors this screen right here. And you, with this stylus right here, you can draw right on the screen. So if you're working in Photoshop, doing anything, you have some sort of item in Illustrator, like, oh, there's this teapot and I need to copy this teapot. You can literally bring that in and trace directly on top of it in the computer and never have to like do something where you're like, I drew it, I took a picture, then I printed it, then I, did this, and I drew on top of it, then I scanned it, then I brought it back in, and then I did this, and then this is just like direct hand to screen. It's awesome. I've adapted this within the past 5 years, I think, or even shorter. Might be 5 years. And when you see me grade and I do those videos for you and I grade your stuff, I'm doing it on a drawing screen. Like that's how I do it. I talk to you. I'm like, okay, this over here needs to move. I'm on the drawing screen, so it's super great. And then the step up here is the Wacom graphics tablet. So this acts as your mouse. And instead of holding a piece of soap in your hand, oops, I didn't mean to draw that square, which is a mouse, which I find, which people are like, oh, my hand hurts. And oh, I use the mouse so much, my hand's cramping up. Guess what you never hear people complaining about? Holding a pencil. And so you can hold the pencil, and this graphics tablet allows you to move from the whole real estate of the two screens just in this small area. So I'm never like picking up the mouse, moving it over, restarting and like dragging and dropping. This covers the entire width of the two screens. So it speeds up your process as well. And just the comfort of holding a pencil, and then to do something, all you do is tap. So there's no button click. You tap, you double tap, and then there's a little button on the pencil you can right click. So these are some awesome things that we have here in the studios that it's open for everybody to use. And I would highly come in and start using these things. And maybe you'll be like, I work more efficiently, especially if you have my two morning classes, brand and media, that rolls right into history. I don't lecture the entire time. So you have like time like where I'm done lecturing, you'd be like, oh, I can use these computers, do it, save it, and then go do stuff at home. So highly recommend coming in using these great setups. They're here for you. So there we go. And if you have questions, I'm here to help and like debug it. Like, of course, when you first start it, everything might not be set up perfectly, but that takes like 5 minutes. And then once it's rolling and you sit down at that same computer every 2 days, every week, boom, it works. So there you go. All right, let's get into Blackboard here. I'm going to do the student preview. Now, I am not going to run through all of this stuff. I may talk about some of it. That's in this introduction video that I posted a couple days ago. Rewatch it. If you're like, I don't know where anything is, it's because I did it here and I didn't feel like talking for 30 minutes during our class time on like how Blackboard is set up and where everything is. So easy peasy. Just watch that video if you're a little bit confused. I'll keep the video up for like a week and then I'll take it away. Just I like to, declutter as much as possible and not have too much stuff out there for everyone. So that's what we'll do. Looks like a section of you, I can't count, is figured out Zoom. This is brand new. They threw this on us a week ago. They're like, Blackboard collaborates out. Zoom is in. And I was like, I don't really like Zoom, but so far so good. It seems to be working well. And then, as I said, you click on that Zoom lectures and it goes away and then you join the next one up. So I think we got that all figured out. Studio sessions. If you got any questions, comments, or concerns this week, put them here. I'll check them. And then hopefully if somebody else has the same question, if I missed something, go throw me, ask me, but ask me in front of everybody. Like, hey, you mentioned this, but I don't see it. I may have forgotten something. And then I can be like, oh my God, everybody, here it is. And not, everybody's just kind of like has the same thought, but nobody's coming forth to talk about it. So does that make sense? So yeah, any questions, comments, or concerns, throw it out here so everybody can see if I messed up or not, and then we can move on. All right, and I should probably zoom in on this. There we go. I'll do it big like this because I know probably 90% of you are on little laptops and then it's a screen within maybe in a screen and all that kind of stuff. So, all right, we are in session 1. Just the name of it is Event Ticket Giveaway Phase 1. We will be dealing with that assignment on Thursday. We meet Tuesdays and Thursdays. Why? Because I don't like to talk for 2 hours at once. And if I talk for 2 hours at once and then just hand you stuff for a week, I don't think that's conducive to good design. I want to give you some little design things that you can dabble on, and then a bigger design project that you can spend more time on, but have them separated out so you can think of them differently. That's how a job works. You wouldn't just get 40 assignments in one day and then have your art director be like, all right, see you next week. Like you're gonna get, hey, we got something for you today. Start working on it. And then the next day they're gonna be like, oh, we got something new for you. And then you start, melding things together. So it works better for me. That's why I separate it out into 2 classes instead of 1. And plus you get more time with me. Isn't that great? So let's go through. So you open session 1, there's attendance. Every week there's attendance. This is due Thursday by midnight. This is how I take attendance. I could see you, talk to you, like hold your hand and take you places. And if you didn't fill out this attendance, you didn't attend class. This is my official record. This should take you 15 minutes, if even. If you've had me before, you know this. And if you've had me before, it's the same questions. There are 5 questions. You can use the internet. If you need to use the internet, please use the internet. I don't care. It's just you answer the 5 questions, you get a tiny grade, and then when they ask for the attendance for this class, I just go through and be like, yes, 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 or no. And then they're all design questions that you should probably know. Like, what is a palette in design? Well, sure ain't a texture map because that's a texture map. A palette really doesn't have anything to do with font choice. A palette, color palette. Oh, color palette. Yeah, boom, that's it. Boom, you could do it. Do the next one. Easy peasy. And literally, if you don't know the question, just do that. Do a little copy. Go up to here. Go to paste, and then hit return. And thinking. Boom, a set of colors. I really don't care, but the reason I have these as the attendance questions is they should just be familiar to you. You're in graphic design, like any question that is asked over the 16 weeks, 5 questions a week, I think there's repeats in there. It's just they're graphic design, so you should know them. So, yeah, so that's that. I don't want to save and close. Oh, it's so big. I want to get out. Just get out of it. All right. So make sure you do that Thursday. I will remind you to do it again. And then if you don't do it, you can't complain. If you get dropped from the course, but oh, I didn't know there was attendance. It's giant. It's full bold, everything. So, all right. For the first few weeks of this course, I have extra design-based lectures. There's 2 per week for probably, I think it's like the first 10 weeks. And these are things that we find. These are based on that grading sheet where I have like those 20 things that are the most common mistakes done. These are all based on those, and I want to talk to you more in depth about each one and show you how to get around it and stuff like that. So the first 2, let's open up Stay Organized. I'm going to download it so I can make it bigger, as you can too. And we'll just go through this. So this is about file organization. One thing to do for yourself is to figure out how you want to save your work, keep your work, if both for your personal work and your school work. The reason being, the more organized you are, the faster you'll design. It's not always like, oh, you got to be so fast, blah, blah, blah. But when things take you a long time because you're looking for this file, you don't know where this thing is, that's hidden. Where I was working on it, I don't remember what I did with it. If you have a folder system and a file system that you use and it's the same every time, you'll stop running into that problem. You'll be like, I want to work on project A. I know where my working files are. Every time, before I close my computer, if I threw a bunch of crap onto my desktop, I throw it into these folders before I close out. Boom. I know where everything is. You're working quicker. You know where everything is. And then you're not stumbling. This is important. Why? Once you start working for a company or yourself, they're paying you through time. So the longer it takes you, the less you get paid. The longer it takes you, they may be like, this person isn't going to get big projects because they move too slow. Like they're so unorganized. We can't trust them with like bigger projects. You'd be like, no, I can do it. And they're like, it doesn't show that you can do it. So a very simple way is just setting up a folder system. And I'll show you how to do this. This is an example. You have to kind of customize it for yourself. But you only have to do this once, and then you can copy and paste your folder system blankly. So I have and we've done this. This is based off of true service in the industry. I had to create a folder system for the previous place that I worked because everybody had their own folder system, but we started sharing projects and nobody would know how anybody else worked. So the company as a whole, the graphic department, created a folder system that everybody used the exact same system. So if somebody was on vacation, somebody was sick, and you had to work on their project, you knew exactly what to do. And it didn't take any time. We'd just be like, where's that? Everybody had to save them in the same spot, the exact same way, and it was beautiful. So this is not just made up. It's an industry standard. So you generally have a folder with your main project, and then within there, you break it out into whatever you need for the other pieces. So you have like the working files. Working files may be the main file, like an InDesign file. And I always version them. And the V01, V02, the versioning helps you. It helps you know how many times have you worked on a project. So say we work on the first big project that we have in this class, we're going to do it over 4 weeks. So you might have a version 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then that way you know, like, okay, we actually work it over 5 weeks, and then a final. So that separates out. I know what I did on this one. I know what I did on this one. It also helps when you get into the industry or if you're working freelance, is you can say to the client, we've had, because usually you only do a versioning after you've talked to somebody about the project. So you could say, well, between me, you and the client, or me and the client, I had 5 different versions. We did changes 5 different times. So in the contract, it says after 3, the price goes up, blah, blah, blah. And you can show them proof. Like here, I kept each version and I have them. It's kind of an insurance policy. If you screw something up on your own document, you can go back to the last version. If you're, I don't know, let's say like computer dies and they can't get some, your computer freezes, like you always have a backup. You can always go to that last project and it can continue to work. So that's working files. So that's usually just one and it saves up. Or you'd have like working files, and if you had like, I'm working on a banner, a this, a that, and the other, you can break out folders in there. Support is generally like the extra files I make for a design. So if I'm working in InDesign, I may have some Illustrator files that have like a little more intricate designy things in it. I will keep those here so I can make updates and changes, and that's just support files that go into this. And the support generally is other design files. The images is your images. Like it just, you put your images in here and it links to here, you're done. It knows your images are always images. Or if it tells you when you open them, I can't find that, you'll be like, I know where it is. It should be in images. And then you just go and relink it. Super easy. You know where your stuff is. Because I know we start working on projects. I do it too. Right in the beginning, I start throwing stuff onto the desktop. And then like halfway through the project, I'm like, you guys, okay, let's put it in the proper folder because I'm going to forget it or lose it. Or I'm going to go to a different computer, which I often do. And then I'll be like, oh, my images aren't there because they're on the desktop of a different computer. Then you're screwed. So that's another way. Number 4, research, random files. This is like, if I got reference images for design, reference images for illustrations, reference for anything, that's generally research. I'll also throw in, like, if the client gives me Word documents, all the Word stuff, I'll throw those in there, PDFs, anything just like weird, extraneous. Fonts, if need be. If you're downloading a font from the fonts and you got somebody else has to print some point, you have to give them your fonts, and you need to know where they are. So, because that's the last thing you want to do is send your piece off the print, and then here 3 days later, when they're about to print it, oh, we don't have your fonts. And then you can't find your fonts. And then your print job is delayed, and then it doesn't get to the client. And then you gotta, bow your head and then not get paid maybe because your project is late because you screwed up. Finals, this is where you put the final one. This is like it. We have done this. We're going to the printer. Here's the final. A lot what this has to do with, less with InDesign, more with Illustrator, is the final. And I used to do this more, is we would outline the fonts in the final one, which means there's no changes. We'd outline the fonts, send it to the printer, and they'd print from there. that was also done back in the day. Fonts weren't as nice as they are now. So you kind of did that as a saving grace as well, because then the printer never asked about your fonts. It was just all outlined. You don't have to do that as much, but it's also just know like this is my final, boom, boom. And then when somebody comes back to you and they're like, hey, we want to print that, we want to reprint that project, blah, 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 blah. And you're like, all right, great. You just go to finals, you pull it, and you don't have to go here and be like, wait, I think it was version 4 was the final one. No, you know your final. So stay organized, start setting that up. Like I said, you can do that so easily. So if you right click on both Mac and PC, and everything I say will work on both computers. And if I forget to say it on Mac and PC, or I may not know the exact key commands for both at the same time, I work back and forth. I work on a Mac at school and I have a PC at home. So every day I work on both systems. They are exactly the same. 90% of the stuff you do is exactly the same. The programs are exactly the same. Why do I work on PC? They're not as expensive and I can do more with them. I can keep upgrading my PC personally and not have to be like, oh, Apple made it so you can't upgrade it. I'm screwed. And then I just got to get a new one. So the PC I have at home is 6 or 7 years old. I've been upgrading it along the way. Still working great. I want to get another like 4 years out of it. Uh, so that's why. Some people are biased. People are like, "Oh, I'm only a Mac person. Only that's the same frickin' computer." So if you go to new folder, it'll create a new folder, and of course this one, because I have this organizational system on here that I have to stop. Sort by none. Sorry, I forget that every time. All right, so I have my folder, and you just call this like project, or starter. I'll tell you something else. If you haven't had class with me in this form, I make this giant mouse that you see, like that giant arrow, so you guys can see it on the screen, makes detailed stuff impossible. Like it can't figure out where to put stuff. So you'll see me like triple click and be like, this guy doesn't know how to use a computer. And like it's these giant cursors are the worst. So then the other thing to do, number them and put like 0, 1, and then I don't even remember what I had. Working files. And you can do it whatever you want. And like I said, you set this up once. I'm just going to put like O2 underscore new folder O3 underscore boom. And then you have your starter. And then you can right click on the starter. You can make a copy of it. Copy. And then paste item. And then I get a starter copy. I open that up, same files. So you never have to make the file system once you made it once. Does that make sense? So you don't have to think like, oh, every time I start a project, I got to make 7 folders. Nope. You do it once, and then you keep a master copy, and then you just copy and paste it. You can hold down some quick keys to make a copy. However you want to do it. I would start to do that, start to get organized in that sort of way. There's more advanced ways with Adobe using their file system, but you're reliant on them a little bit. So I leave that up to you. So any questions on that? This is the first time. And this file is there for you. So, feel free to check it out. If you do have questions, I know sometimes during the lecture, it's like, I'm still processing it. You ask me questions anytime, any place, anywhere. All right. Let's go back. Yes. How to do what? Oh, I'll take it. We'll do that after I do the lecture. Because otherwise, if I did that for 20 people, we'd be stuck. I will, after the lecture, I'll do one-on-ones with everybody. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. No. Yeah. We can sit down, hang out. All right. All right. So here. All right, the other one, work smarter. I don't need to download this one. Fatigue. I'm not joking. So you can get fatigue, designer fatigue. You're sitting at a computer all day. If you're not in the proper position, proper like setup, uh, posture, all that stuff, it makes it harder and harder to design. I know. I went through this. I had sciatica, I think it's called, like from leaning over, and it got horrible. Like I would have to lay on the couch, my back would hurt, and it turned out like I wasn't working right. I wasn't working properly. Once I started working properly, it's never happened again. But it takes a long time for like it to start hurting, and then a long time for you to correct it. So if you start early, you never run into that situation, and that's why I'm sharing this with you. So one thing, and I say this, and I know economics come into this a little bit, but it's kind of true these days now. So most, if not all, laptop computers have an HDMI output, or they have a USB-C that you can get a $5 dongle to make it HDMI, and you can plug that into any other giant screen to make a giant screen so you don't have to squint. Uh, the bigger the screen, the easier it is to see, the easier it is to design. Uh, it'd be like saying you could only, I don't know. It's just restricting your space. Don't restrict the size that you have to work. And I say this because like pretty much everybody's got a TV somewhere. If you got a TV, you can plug in your HDMI from your computer into the TV and use that as a monitor. That's what I used to do. I used to have I still do. My two monitors at my house are TVs because they're cheaper than computer monitors. Um, and that's what I've done. I have two TV monitors hooked in together to make my setup. And people would be like, oh, my large screen TV doesn't work. The sound doesn't work. And I'd be like, I'll take it. And they'd be like, what? I'm like, I'm going to use it as a computer monitor. It's huge. I don't need the sound. And then I just plug in an HDMI cord and I have a giant monitor for free. So that's like this illustration right here. If you have the opportunity to do that, use your family room TV, you know, be like, hey, everybody, no more watching Jeopardy. I gotta do work. And you kick them out. You're like, watch Jeopardy on your phone. I need the big screen. Uh, we're got a big screen. It makes a huge difference. And I'm saying that too. I come from like, I have bad eyes. I finally had to get, 2 years ago, I got a set of glasses just to use on a computer because I was tilting my head and straining my neck trying to see. It was driving me nuts. And I got a cheap pair of computer glasses, like the cheapest pair I could get on Zenny. Uh, and it's changed everything. I can look normal. I just carry around two pairs of glasses. It's great. Um, so the other one though, if you can't, and all you have is a laptop, stop working like this. Get some books, anything. Raise that computer screen up to your face. Not so this, when they designed laptops, desks were created for your hand to be writing on a desk. That is what the height is for. But when you get a laptop and that screen is down low and you want to see detail and you start doing this, you're going to live like that. You're going to end up being like that in 5 years. So you don't want that. Put some books underneath your laptop. It's easy enough to type a little bit higher because you're not doing a ton of typing and it's just quick keys, the shortcut keys. And as I've said, and if you've had me for any of the classes, get a mouse. That's the other thing. If you're not designing with a mouse and you're trying to use the trackpad, you are wasting your time as well. The trackpad is not meant for graphic designers. It's meant for people doing Word documents and scrolling the internet. If you don't have a mouse where you can easily right click, left click, click, hold, drag while holding down two shortcut keys to get stuff done, that's what you need to be doing because there's no way to click, drag, and hold down shortcut keys on a trackpad. I've not figured it out. And there's you can move so much quicker. So get your laptop, put it on some books. Can't say phone books anymore, man. That's so outdated. Uh, get some unread books at your house, prop it up, get it high, get that mouse low, and get that screen up high so you're not leaning in and killing your back. So work smarter, not harder, and keep your posture. And it's fatiguing. You'll get tired quicker. You'll be like, oh boy, I designed for an hour. And you're like, 1 hour? Why are you so tired? Well, because you're scrunched over, you're holding your back up, you're squinting, you're making it hard on yourself. If you work like this, you can work much longer and easier and knock shit out. Oh, I'm gonna swear. If you have soft ears, I'm sorry. It gets to be too much fun. So there you go. Stay organized, work smarter, easy things for you to do on your own. It'll be great. Do it. All right. Moving on, moving on. I have this here before the assignments. Mid-session project review. This is an area that throughout the week, Monday through Friday, and usually Saturday mornings, I check this. If you're working on a project and before you hand it in, you can be like, hey, Joel, check this project out. How's it looking? And I'll be like, hey, you want to, tweak this area, fix this area, and move this over here. Hey, Joel, I'm stuck on this project. This or that thing's not working. Boom, I'll get back to you. I'll let you know what's going on. It is a great place to have your work checked mid-session to be like, am I doing this right? Do I have this set up right? Any questions? It's a great place to work that out. You just click on it, and then when you hit type a post, you can type out your question, and then with this little paper clip, you can add your piece. And I'll get back to you. And I may get back to you, like it should be quick. I should get back to you quickly. I check these things as soon as I can, like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturdays. I check them in the mornings. Like it's my first thing. I'm excited. The first thing I do is like I get up and I'm like, I gotta check the discussion boards, and then I grade, like I go through a process. So it's pretty quick. Here's the caveat then. Close. All right. Midsection project review. When to not post it there. Anytime after 5 p.m. on the day a project is due. So you have projects due on Tuesdays and Thursdays. If you post at 6 p.m. on Tuesday and it's due at midnight, I'm probably not going to get to it. Does that make sense? Like my day has ended. You still have to turn in that assignment. I'm not worried about your assignment. Like I hope that you'd worked on it a little bit sooner than a couple hours before it was due. Your prerogative, however you want to work, but don't be like, he didn't check it an hour beforehand and that's why it's wrong. Like, who would check it an hour, like, especially off hours, like 11 p.m. I know a lot of you like to work late, but I don't. I get up, I work in the morning until late afternoon, and then I'm done. I don't work the night shift. So, but just keep in mind that if you post late on a day it's due, you're not going to hear from me most likely. So just kind of work ahead. Just kind of know that, like, oh, if I have a question, I should ask it. You have the whole week. That's also why. So use that. It's a great way. Again, there's a million ways to get a hold of me, a million ways for me to help you out. I'm here. I never want anybody to be like, I couldn't get a hold of him. I had a question. I couldn't get a hold of him. I may defer you for an hour, like I did the people in the room when they asked a question. I'm like, let me get through the lecture and then I'll sit down with you and we'll, do it in hand. And every lecture is recorded and reposted right after so you can review stuff. How awesome is that? All right. Assignments. You're going to have 2 assignments assigned today. One is every graphic designer needs to know, and one is a graphic design discovery. Let's start with assignment 1. All right. Every assignment is written out in the same way, and it has a due date for the assignment and then 2 replies. So you have to post and reply Look at the times, 11:58, 11:59. These are the best I can get, closest I can get to midnight on the day that they're due. So if you work up at the last minute, you got to check it. All right, what are you going to have to do for this project? This is a type project only, and this should take you 1 hour to complete. This isn't about research and organization. This is about somebody gave me something. I got to set up the document. I'm going to find something in it. I'm going to typeset it within the rules, and I'm going to get it done. When we're working in the industry, you don't always have a lot of time to do stuff. Plus, I feel like these quick 1 hour, these like kind of keep your brain going. And I actually love these assignments over the really long, extended, like 1 month, 2 month assignments. Like my brain was, after a while, I'm like, I'm done with this project. I really like these quick ones where you knock them out, do them super easy. And I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it quickly. I'll do this one. I'm going to show examples of the next one, and then I'm going to get you on your way. And then I'll kind of cross over on Thursday. I'll work a little bit more and then do the big assignment on Thursday. Because today, again, I don't want to talk forever and I want you to get designing. So I have very specific instructions on how to set up every document. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this over and I'm going to read through it. I'm going to do it, but you have the instructions with you, but I just want to do it. And I do this every week. So you can't be like, what? I'm going to do this. So we're going to create a new file. And every week it changes. Sometimes you're going to use Adobe Illustrator. Sometimes you're going to use Adobe InDesign. You have to kind of pay attention. I'm switching back and forth. Why? In the end, you need to know every program kind of as strong as you do the other programs, because you never know what's going to be thrown at you. This comes from back in the day. A lot of people just always went to Adobe Illustrator, and then we'd hear like, oh, I'm not really good at InDesign. I'd be like, oh my God, well, how come you're not using it? No, you will be 50% of the time. All right, so I need to create a document that's 7.5, and all this is in the instruction by 5 inches tall and set a bleed of 0.25. So my bleed is set at 0.25 inches. It's all looking good. And then I hit create. Now you need to set up. You're going to be using layers. If you've never used layers before, layers is here. You should have. You've learned about layers. This is the third semester. I'm going to create a layer called margin. And then I'm going to draw a box. I'm going to draw a box that's 7 by 4.5. So I'm just doing a square. And then I go over here on properties. If you haven't started using properties, start using it. It has everything you need to know in one panel, rather than having 70 instead of having all of these out, you really only need properties now. It was a game changer when they did this. It was so great. So I made a box, draw a box that is 7 inches wide, 4.5 inches tall, with no fill. So right down here, appearance, no fill, a stroke, a magenta stroke. So that's that first line, magenta, 1 point. And I checked this, everybody. I'm going to be checking this. And I'm going to center the box perfectly on the artboard. Guess what? I'm not going to touch the box. Right here under a line, I'm just going to click this one and this one, the centered ones. And that's going to center your box automatically. Got to start using that. I use this align tool all the time. Now I'm going to turn on the ruler, which is Command R or Control R, depending on your computer. And I'm going to pull a guide from the top to the middle, from the side to the middle. Why? Whenever I design, I think I want to know like where's the exact middle of my board. Like I want all these things in. If you've taken a class with me, the margin sets up your space as no important information ever goes past the margin. And when you work in the professional area and you get design files from printers or clients, there will always be a margin set, and you pay attention to the margin. It's like it's like driving off the road. You don't drive past the margin. If you have text past the margin, you get in trouble. If you got somebody's face half over the margin, you get in trouble. Not in trouble, but you know what I mean? It's just stop doing these things. But we'll talk about that every week. So I have all this set up. Here's the tricky part that everybody forgets. I'm saying it. Here's the tricky part that everybody forgets. Don't forget this. Just go to the layers, go to this little hamburger menu, and then well, you gotta have that margin turned on. It has to be blue. Go there, and then we want to click on template. Template changes the eyeball to a little square. It locks it. I mean, you can unlock it, and it makes this italic. This margin will never show up in print. Having it be a template means that you and only you see it, but it will never show up in any, you export it, it won't show up. You print it, it won't show up. It's a template. It's there for the designer to use as a template, but it never prints. Isn't that cool? Next layer, crop marks. Type in crop marks. I'm going to make a box 7 by 4.5. The document size. You know what? I just realized that's wrong. I found a typo. I have to fix that typo. So you make it the size of the box, right? So 7.5 by 5. You want no fill. You want no stroke. Make sure it's centered perfectly. And then right here, under appearance, it goes fill, stroke, opacity, and then there's a little FX button. If I click FX, all I have to do is click crop marks, and I'm done. And I lock that, donezo. That's it. So that's how you create crop marks. And then I'm going to create a new layer, call it typography. And then I'm going to make sure that I reorder my layer, that the crop marks, it can be anything you want, but it's like move the margin layer to the top of the list. The crop marks are below it, and then your typography is there. And that way, these are always kind of at the highest point. It doesn't matter. And then you work below it, so you can always see your margin. And I know you can turn it off when you need to, turn it on, but that's your safety guide. So that's how you set up a project. That's so funny. I found an error, and I've been using this for a while. All right. The design process for this. Copy the chosen text to your computer's clipboard and paste it into a specific document. I have a document for you to read. You don't even have to read it. You peruse it. Then you are going to typeset one sentence from the information I've given you. You can only use typography, no images, no cutesy-putesy stuff. I don't want to see smiley faces. I don't want to see like a little eyeball, which is, you'll understand why I say eyeball. No images. This is type only. 2 typefaces maximum. 3 colors maximum. You're like restricted. And that should actually be 2 colors. I don't know why I put on 3. I feel like I should change that. Maybe next semester I'll change it. Well, Joel, where do we get this information? Down here at the bottom, reading 1. All right. So reading 1 is going to open up this thing, this document. It's a very short document. You barely have to read. You can just go through it, and you're going to find a cool quote from within here, and you're going to typeset it in a very cool way that kind of speaks to what it is. So all these are little items about graphic design. What you see isn't what your brain gets. And it talks about like optical illusion, things you should kind of know as a designer. This book is called 100 Things Every Designer Needs to Know. So they're all kind of cool little things like your brain creates shortcuts in order to quickly make sense of the world around you. Like there's a quote right there. And then like you think, how could I typeset that in a very short amount of time, but make it interesting, but not also, I'm not going to include a picture of the world. I'm not going to create, a picture of a keyboard. So you find what you can do. This is a great one. You can influence on what people see or think by using shapes and colors. So do you read, is it stop war, peace now? Or is it stop peace, war now? Oh, very tricky on how you set them up, graphic designers, right? So like here, there's numbers and letters you can use. What did I have? I picked one I was going to do. I did it on peripheral. I just always didn't want to like pull something that somebody else would. Oh no. Hear me. So like I could do this. Just gonna copy that. I just selected it and copied it. Now I'm in typography here, the typography layer. Go to here. I can paste it. Now, first, I'm going to pick a cool font. Like don't pick, if you use Myriad Pro, you shouldn't be a graphic designer. Why? Because it's what the computer said you should use. And then I can just hire the computer to do your work instead of you. And you're like, but no. Here, I just go with bold. And people can't help but notice. And I'm looking for the middle point, and it's like here. So I'm going to copy and paste that and delete this point. And then I want this. And this is the project where you can just fly off the cuff. And then maybe I'll stack it, like, oh, I know what I'm gonna do. Because it seems hard. People, oh, so I ran into a problem with this one. I don't want vision alone. That's called a widow. I'm gonna see if I can do this. And I think I'm gonna do a stack of 4, because then it's not so obvious that I have a widow. And then like you do this. And I'm going to touch the margin, but I'm not going to go past it. I can click on this. I can use my eyedropper, match the size. I'm going to grab these two because the leading is too much. Then I'm going to have this one be left align, so it sticks to this edge. Then I'm going to grab these two. I'm going to center them. And they're centered directly on the artboard. And actually, I think now that I see it, I want these smaller. I kind of want it tricky. Oh, you know what? Yeah. But again, this is the kind of project I want this to be exactly what I'm doing. Like kind of quick, you're moving it, you're setting things up. I want it done in less than an hour with the setup. And then I'm going to make these gray so they're hard to see, like on purpose. So the idea is I took everything out of the center, and then you kind of read, people can't help but notice movement in their peripheral vision. So I took everything out of the center, have that set up, nice and easy, type only. I manipulated the type. I just did not type out a sentence and put it in the center. No creativity there. That's what you get for that. I want you to be creative with the typography, but I don't want you to add in images of an eyeball. I don't want you to add in like any of that. No, it's just type. And you start each one of these, you're going to start playing with type. Only 2 fonts. You can add some color. It's a little bit of a challenge, but it should be an easy challenge. But I guess you get what you get. If you like type it out and you're like, that's all I'm going to do, I'll be like, okay, great. That's great. Like see work, average work. There you go. So we're going to name it and then save it and name it. So I go file, save as, and we're going to do it 2 ways. I'm going to save this to my desktop for now. I usually just save it to my file system in Adobe. So it's my first initial, last name, underscore every 01.ai. Oh, no, I don't have to put the .ai. Who am I? It's not the 1980s. And then I hit save. I'm going to check all this. It's all great. Hit OK. And then I'm going to go to file. And I have specific instructions in here. And I'm eventually going to teach you how to do this easier. But you're going to go to export, export as, and I'm going to change the JPEG to a PDF. Same name, save everything. I'm going to hit export. But here, I want you to stop. I want it press quality. So up here, you're going to go down to press quality. I want you to make sure that you have view PDF after saving on. Then you're going to go to marks and trims and bleed. And I want you to make sure that the box is checked for trim and bleed. So you can do trim marks right there. That's all you need to do. Just trim marks and then bleeds. Use document bleed settings. All right. The reason being is we're setting things up for two different PDFs for two different uses. Why is that? Well, one use is for the press. One use is for the client. So this press version is going to go to the press people, and it has all the documentation that they need. And when you hit export, and I forgot to write press in there, I'm going to hit export. I get this document, which shows my crop marks. It has the bleed, and it has everything in its high res. And it's actually supposed to say press. It's supposed to say JSCAJA every 01 press. Now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go File, and then make sure I'm on File, Export, Export As, and this is for the client. So I go Client. Why do I do this? Because you don't need to send the client all the information that the press gets. You want to send them a smaller file that could go through email, and it's easy for them, and they don't need to see crop marks. They just need to see the work as is. So for here, you go to smallest file size, view PDF after saving, and for the marks and bleeds, none of this is turned on. And then when I hit export, they get just their sheet. There's no extra any information on there, and this is what they get. So when you upload, you'll upload 3 files for me. You'll upload your native file, your PDF for the client, which here, and your PDF for the press. Upload your working file PDF below, and you click on this, you click that, you add your attachments, and you're done. Like I just all 3 of these. Open. There you go. And then you post it. So there's that. Easy peasy. All right. Next assignment, graphic design discovery. I want you to find something about graphic design that you find interesting. Could be a person, could be a style, could be anything that deals specifically with graphic design that you're interested in. Has to be a graphic design subject matter. If it is beyond graphic design, I may question what you chose, and you'll have to debate on whether it is a graphic design piece or not. I get some weird ones once in a while. That's why I'm being very specific on this. And I'll work more with this. I'm going to talk about this, and then I'll work more with it on Thursday, but you can get started on it. And I'll show you some examples. So just like everything else, you're going to have the objective, find something in graphic design that you find interesting, that fascinates you, and you're going to do a little bit of research on that. You're going to research and gather a minimum of 5 different visual examples related to your chosen subject, and write or gather a 100-word minimum essay about your chosen subject. This is where I don't care if you use ChatGPT or Gemini or something like that. You ask it like, hey, I need a 100-word paragraph on said design. Great. I don't care. That's fine. I'm not grading you on the words. What I'm grading you on is your typography and how you typeset. So it's not necessarily like that. So you can get ChatGPT to write it. Like, I'm interested in Aaron Draplin. I need 100 words about the graphic designer Aaron Draplin. Boom. I'm just going to copy and paste that in. Easier said, I can just go to his website and find it. And then you're going to design a presentation. This one, again, is in Adobe Illustrator. And just like I did with that last project, I have it all laid out for you exactly so you don't screw it up. Except for when I screw it up and have the wrong sizing. Okay, here's the print document size. And then you go through, you create the margin, you create the crop marks, then you create a typography layer, an images layer, a background layer, and then adjust as needed. You're going to set up your design, and you're going to go and design it. I'll just show you two two older examples, not finished. I'll make an example on Thursday and then give you your big project on Thursday as well. So I'm going to open. This is the wrong sizing, but this is an example. I'll turn off all the stuff of what I mean, what you're sort of going to do. I had an interest in Aaron Draplin. So I went online. Here's a picture of Aaron Draplin. I found images, 5 images. I have a area of typography. I have a title, like all the things to make a small graphic design piece about what I found interesting. And there's a million of these that you can do. If you happen to ever go on our MATC graphic design Instagram or on the LinkedIn, I post these all the time. I share these. I'll see if I can open something quickly to show you. I'm opening it in design right now. See, it may not be happy, but you can open it. Come on, there we go. The only problem with using the cloud documents is sometimes you gotta wait. Especially if you open it. Like they reset these computers over the summer, so I'll give it a minute. If it doesn't work, I'll finish up for the day. All right. Oh no, not spinning wheel of death for everything. No, I can still move around. All right. Cancel. Oh, let's see if I can get it to pop up in front. Okay, this is what I wanted anyway. Ignore that. Oh, I can move that around. Okay. All right. So, and then you're going to export that the same where you're going to have your native file, you're going to have a client version and a press version. Again, I will go over that on Thursday again. I will set up, I will pre-gather some information. I'll do this design and just like I did the other one, and then I'll talk about the giant project, and then there's a reading. Like I said, I like to split things up. There's a lot of information today. Then Thursday you get some more. It's all doable. All can be taken care of. So I will, after the class ends and the video processes, I will upload it and you'll see a new folder in here. Under session 1, there'll be a folder and it'll be like session 1 video lectures. And then if you need to rewatch the lecture, you can. It'll be on YouTube so you can watch it however you need to watch it and not be stuck to like opening it in Zoom or something weird or the video player on your computer. So, those are the first 2 assignments to start working on. Easy peasy, one typography, one about your favorite thing in graphic design. Doesn't get any easier than that right now. And then Thursday, we'll go over more stuff. Easy assignment, just a chapter reading. Let me know what you think. And then the biggie, which isn't that big. And that's a lot of fun. So I'll ask the online people any questions before I close out the recording. All right. Well, you know how to get a hold of me. Text me, email me, message boards, discussion boards, this, that, or the other. I'll get back to you as soon as I can, and we'll get things cleared up for you. Otherwise, just kind of get started on those first 2 projects. Honestly, these first 2 projects, if you work, just kind of knock them out, get them done. Knock them out, get them done. Don't wait. Don't be like, I'm going to do them this weekend. If you just get them done later on today, tomorrow, whatever. It's always better to work ahead than unless you have a special schedule you work on. Great, but just do it as soon as you can. All right. Thank you, online people. I will talk to you later. Take care. Bye-bye.